Imagine this. You go to the theatre to see Hamlet. But you don't see Hamlet, you become Hamlet. Don't worry, it's all happening in virtual reality, but this time it's happening right here in front of an audience, live. Have you ever experienced virtual reality? It's immersive, it's colourful, and the action surrounds you. And for that moment in time, it feels real. I'm a theatre maker, and I love creating shows that enhance the audience experience. And last year, I had this crazy idea. Because when I'm in the audience, I love it when the actors do unconventional things, like they lock eyes with me, or they jump off the stage and run down the aisle and do half of their show there. And secretly, sometimes, I just want to be on stage with them. And then, one day, someone suggested to me virtual reality. And my experience with it at the time was quite limited. But I soon discovered that in virtual reality, you can become anyone. You can get an eagle's perspective as you soar above Paris. You could be a surgeon performing amazing surgical tasks. Or you could be slashing the beats of adrenaline-pumping music as it comes flying towards you. So I started to see similarities between virtual reality and live theatre. Both tell stories. Both transport us into a 3D visual and auditory space. And both give us that visceral experience. But unlike theatre, in virtual reality, there are some experiences that give the participant some control over the direction or pacing of the main story. As an audience member, you don't get to speed up or slow down the show, even when you watch The Lion King on Broadway in VR. Sure, you get to sit centre stage, but that's a pre-recorded version of the show. And you, as an audience member, are still a passive observer, unable to participate. So my mind started to ponder about all the ways I could collide live theatre and virtual reality. How far could I use technology to enhance the audience experience? How could I immerse the audience into the action on stage, where they're not just participants, but they even take the leading role? And this is where I boldly ventured. I began with a somewhat audacious premise. Come see Hamlet, where you get to be Hamlet. Well, actually, it was, come see The Wizard of Oz, where you get to be Dorothy. But it didn't quite have the same ring to it, did it? I assembled a team of brave students and industry professionals, and we got to work. In the rehearsal room, we all took turns playing Dorothy as we repeated the process: play, review, assess, develop. Whoever was playing Dorothy in VR, we dubbed them the VA, or the virtual actor. We would review footage, we assessed what worked and what didn't, then we would develop a strategy to recreate that scene or action again. Everyone got to report what they felt worked and what didn't work. And let me tell you, a lot of things did not work. When we left the rehearsal room and moved into the theatre, we started working with the Insta360 Pro. Now, this is a much bigger camera with 6 lenses. And I even got to dress it up to look a little bit like Dorothy. My goal was for the audience to see the virtual actor enter and exit the stage and interact with a range of characters just like any traditional actor would. But there were issues that we had to overcome. So proximity became an issue for the actors themselves, as they needed to start practicing how to perform standing very close to the VR camera. This is quite an unconventional thing to do in theatre. For the virtual actor, there was an issue between the sound and the vision not syncing up. When we tried to do live streaming via YouTube, this resulted in an unworkable 7-second time delay between live sound and VR vision. So we had to opt for the preview mode. This gave us a 0.4-second time delay, which is better, but not great. There was an issue with the wireless link to Dorothy. So this meant that the virtual actor had to be placed very close to the front of the stage. So for the virtual actor, they found it a little bit uncomfortable watching themselves sitting in the front row of the audience. So we had to move them side of stage and behind a screen. And then, due to funding limitations, it turned out I could only enhance one audience member's experience. But what went right? Well, for starters, we pulled it off. My team and I actually managed to stage a live version of The Wizard of Oz with one audience member taking on the role of Dorothy in VR. But something more happened. After the show, I received emails from people telling me that they wished they got to be the virtual actor, that they had always wanted to become an actor but felt too shy, and thought maybe through virtual reality they could build up their confidence so that one day they could become Hamlet. The world is constantly changing. When we create new experiences with emerging technologies, we sometimes reach the end of the product's intended use. I don't think anyone thought that the Insta360 Pro would become Dorothy. But with a more customized streaming system, we can create a seamless virtual actor experience with multiple participants. Now just imagine what it would be like if everyone in the audience got to be actors. Now we're talking, right? With the evolution of new technologies, if I was to do this project again, there's every chance I could turn you all into actors. So imagine that future. When you get to go to the theatre to see Hamlet, but you don't see Hamlet, you become Hamlet. Or Dorothy. Or you get to join your favourite actors on stage in your favourite show. A world where audience members are no longer passive observers, but they get to experience theatre firsthand. A world where virtual reality and live theatre collide. Now imagine this. You are transported to the other side of the world to be reunited with your long-lost family member. Or you're training to become an astronaut. Or you're helping children in third world countries have a better future by inviting them into a global classroom. It's a world of possibilities where this type of work happens not only on, but beyond the stage. That is my type of future. Thank you.